Alrighty, this video is about the introduction to an essay. Think of your essay as a hotel. The introduction is the foyer of that hotel. Your guests are the readers, and your readers, guests, are going to be staying there a long time. So we want the introduction to be good and appealing and interesting. This is a basic structure. Now, you don't have to follow it in this order. However, you do need to include these things at a bare minimum. First, the first few sentences are there to hook or grab the attention of the reader from the very start. 2. The following 3 to 4 sentences outline your argument and what the key points are. 3. The last few sentences need to address your question. They state what your point of view will be. The hook. There are a few options when attempting to grab the reader's attention. Firstly, you could do some startling information. This information must be true and verifiable, and it doesn't need to be totally new to your readers. It could simply be a pertinent fact that explicitly illustrates the point you wish to make. If you use a piece of startling information, follow it with a sentence or two of elaboration. So it might be, for example, if your essay question is about Hitler, it might be statistics that are connected to the deaths that Hitler caused, and then elaboration on that. Secondly, an anecdote. An anecdote is a story that illustrates a point. Similar to startling information, however, doesn't necessarily need to be verifiable. Be sure your anecdote is short, to the point, and relevant to your topic. This can be a very effective opener for your essay, but use it carefully. Reasoning for this is anecdotes aren't as factual. And then we have background information. A few sentences explaining your topic in general terms that lead the reader gently towards your thesis or your main argument. Each sentence should gradually be more specific until you reach your thesis or your main argument. Okay? This is good if you're using a topic that not everybody knows about. So you start broad and then narrow in. The argument. This is a collection of sentences that briefly explain your information and how it will be put forward to answer your question. At least one sentence per topic, sometimes 2. So, if you've got 4 paragraphs, you would have at least 4 sentences, 1 sentence for each paragraph, each main point you'll be discussing. Address the question. You've developed a question, now you have to answer it. The next few sentences need to address your question. They will give the reader an idea of your point of view and what you will be arguing. Addressing the question is the most important thing you need to do in your essay. If you do not address the question, answer it and discuss it, then you are not completing your essay as you should. This is an example. Who is the greatest Australian of the 20th century? Imagine being responsible for creating the whole generation of cricket players, then going on to inspire the next generation by maintaining unbeaten records for decades. On the sports field, Sir Donald Bradman is the world's greatest achiever, with many unchallenged records. Off the field, Bradman almost single-handedly drew Australia's attention away from the horrors of the Great Depression. However, the achievements of Howard Florey and the many lives that he saved through the discovery of penicillin could not be ignored, and highlight that he too is a great Australian. Likewise, Edith Cowan should not be forgotten, as she opened a path for many Australian women to follow in a male-dominated Australian society. While both Cowan and Florey are undisputed as great Australians, it is Sir Donald Bradman, by a narrow margin, who is the greatest Australian. That is a very simplified essay introduction, okay? We have our hook, using maybe startling information or an anecdote, probably more like an anecdote. Next, we have our 3 major points that will be discussed in our argument. And lastly, addressing the question. Now, you do not have to do it in this order. You might address the question at the very start and then have your hook. It's up to you how you do that, but you must include all 3 of these. And I would generally say that what is going to be when you're outlining your argument, that should be in the middle of the paragraph. The other thing that you want to consider whilst writing your introduction is to be sure that your introduction includes the same language that are in the question. Okay? It helps the reader connect directly with the question. All right. That is the introduction video. I hope you find this helpful.